now. A quick word on the market. It's lost a bit of its early morning gains, but it's steady state, up about 0.3%. Dr Lal Pathlabs posted a strong set of earnings in the first quarter. The volume growth was steady. Margins expanded almost 300 basis points. Om Manchanda, the CEO of Dr Lal Pathlabs, joins us on the phone line. Mr. Manchanda, good morning. Your volume growth that you saw in this quarter was the highest in the last 3 quarters. What led to this 15% volume growth, and is it something that is sustainable through the year?
Very good morning. I think primary reason for this growth has been our efforts are paying off in rest of India. We have been aggressive in eastern part of India for some time now, and we registered a very good volume growth. We also registered good volume growth in other parts of the country. So I think that is what led to this growth in volumes.
Okay. How do you expect margins to pan out now? That seems to be a pain point.
It's not really a pain point because we've been able to sustain margins. Obviously, as the contribution of Delhi NCR goes down, rest of India goes up because that's where our realization is slightly lower, not slightly, quite lower. So obviously, one needs to manage margins well, and we have been able to take a lot of productivity-led initiatives where we are able to maintain our margins for some time now.
Cause of this fall in realizations?
Realizations, actually, we have been seeing that realization being under pressure for some time. That will continue to be like this because as the contribution from rest of India grows, because the realization is significantly lower than what we realize in Delhi NCR, not because the profile of business is very different. We have very high walk-in business in Delhi NCR and equally high cost structure here versus rest of India where we have more, through partners where we share the revenue share, etc. So that's why the realization is lower there.
Okay. It's very unfortunate that because of the weather changes, etc., we are seeing, a rise in viral flus, swine flu, dengue. This is dengue season as well. Of course, it does benefit players like yours, but what kind of opportunity do you see, say, over the next few quarters because of this, or at least in quarter 2?
We are not seeing any surge in either testing or because of these incidents right now. So I don't see, actually over a period of time, it's actually been tapering off. I'm not seeing that, at least in northern part of India, that much as you probably expect.
We are seeing it in office rooms and in families, Mr. Manchanda. But are you seeing any benefit from GST? The expectation was that branded players, formal players will take over unbranded, non-formal players. Is that at play at all?
No, healthcare is exempted from GST. In fact, there is a bit of adverse impact on healthcare because we are not able to take any input credit. So, but the output is exempt from GST in healthcare.
Okay. Any inorganic plans that you have, say, over the next 6 to 12 months? I mean, any small labs or businesses that you're looking to acquire and grow?
Yeah, we actually acquired one lab in Indore last quarter. We closed the transaction recently. So our efforts will continue as we've been mentioning that this growth strategy for us is built on 2 pillars. One is, of course, organic, which has been our sort of mainstay. And we continue to expand our network across various parts of the country. Inorganic also will continue because there are various segments in which one can do M&A. Of course, large players are only few. But there are regional players as well as, very small unorganized players. Our efforts will continue there, and especially in southern and western part of India where our relatively shares are less.
Does Ayushman Bharat impact you at all, one way or the other?
Not as of now because Ayushman Bharat in the first leg is primarily focused on tertiary care, which is primarily related to hospital space. So it doesn't directly impact diagnostics per se, especially the private independent outside hospital diagnostics. I do believe that overall initiatives like this will create awareness for health, and overall there will be a trend towards preventive healthcare is what I foresee going forward.
Okay. Any plans to diversify out of Delhi? I mean, any other geographies that you're looking at?
Yeah, that's obviously ongoing efforts. We have focused quite a bit in eastern part of India post the listing. It's been now 3-4 years of effort. We have started moving towards deeper into western part of India, and this acquisition that we did in MP was a step in that direction. And we will continue to look at geographies like Maharashtra and even southern states as well. So our plans are in place to really look at what we need to do for next 1 or 3 years and also beyond 3 years. Clearly, these geographies are part of our game plan.
All right. We'll leave it at that, Mr. Manchanda. Pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for joining us. That stock is up over 1% today. One of the better numbers announced. Market, meanwhile, has kind of held on to its gains, you will have to say. Receded just a wee bit to profit-taking. But across the board, it is still about 1.3 stocks in the green for one in the red. Anything you want to add?
Just looking at some stocks, and in today's trade, what's happening is that there's some aspect of buying in some of these names like Reliance Infra, DHFL, Reliance Capital. So a pure sort of short covering move is also on. The sector of the day clearly is metals. I think that's the one clearly where there's
the global play.
The global play is on, and so stocks like Tata Steel, GSPL, NMDC. I thought NMDC was really perhaps a stock to watch out for in the morning as well. So that's doing well. Vedanta is at the high point of the day. So that's one part of the market which is really sustaining the rally. For the other stocks, obviously there's been some cool off from the high point, but metals really sustaining at the highest point.
Okay, well, one stock that is at the low point right now and has hit a fresh 52-week low is Glenmark Pharma. It's down 7% and big volumes there. Of course, the numbers were subpar, but let's find out what went about in the conference call. Ekta's here. Ekta, what was the guidance like? I mean, was it lower than what they gave out last time? Why is the street spooked?
Well, I think the street is spooked because of multiple factors. The US business didn't really perform this time round. It was absolutely flat on a Q-on-Q basis. But separately, they are guiding for quite a strong US business going forward, and that is contingent on the fact that they should get 2 limited competition drug approvals, which is expected in Q2. So the street is banking on that. But remember that a large part of Q2 is already over. So the street is a little apprehensive also about that in terms of these 2 drugs coming through, which will then result in the generic business picking up. Separately, just want to point out that 2 of their facilities in fact have been categorized, have been under the regulatory scanner. So the Badi facility inspected by the US FDA, classified as OAI, and the Ankleshwar API facility received 4 observations from the US FDA as well. India continues to be a strong destination for Glenmark according to them, and according to them, Q1 was a bottom for the US. They should probably see some amount of a respite in Q2, but again contingent on those limited competition drugs. In discussion with minority investors for the API business, and they're looking to divest a number of non-core assets. The objective is to take out 700 to 800 crores of debt per year from the business. So I think the street is waiting for a lot of these variables to come through, and combine that with the fact that the numbers are disappointing. Badi plant has an OAI that obviously would result in some weakness.
Okay, and let's revisit Dr. Reddy's as well. That stock down 6% now.
Yes, like we were mentioned in top 10, the reason why Dr. Reddy's is down today is because they've received a complete response letter from the US FDA on this contraceptive drug called NuvaRing generic in the US. So they were expected to launch this drug in 2019. Remember that this particular drug has seen delays for at least, I think, around 1.5 to 2 years in terms of launches. The company had guided that they're going to probably receive any more queries from the US FDA, which is the CRL. But now that it's come through, generally what happens with the CRL is that you take a couple of months to respond to it. And that means that the launch will probably take place in the mid of CY20. So Citi, for example, has a sell. They've cut the target price to 2,375, and according to them, assuming a mid-2020 launch, they've cut the FY20 and 22 EPS as well.
Okay, Ekta, thanks a lot for that. Let's shift focus back to the market. It's holding on.